everyone, it's Paige. Welcome back to my channel. So it is the start of a new weekend. We are still in quarantine here where I live in Pennsylvania, and so lately I've been thinking about books I want to read while I have this sort of free time. So I decided to do this video, which is going to be my quarantine TBR. So I'm going to go through a few of the books that I'm hoping to finish this month roughly, or just basically for as long as we are in quarantine or as long as we are supposed to social distance. So I'm going to go through those books with you, and then at the end of this video I'm going to show you the books, like there are only a few, but I want to show you the books that I am trying to finish. I'm trying with all my might to get the motivation to finish them, and I'm hoping that I can do that during this quarantine because what else is there to do? Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the books. So the first book I want to show you, I have mentioned maybe a couple times in my videos that I've been wanting to read this book for a really long time, and that is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer. This is a YA fantasy retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I've just heard so many people praise this book. People were looking forward to its release, and ever since it did come out, apparently it didn't disappoint because the reviews for this are phenomenal. I personally love Beauty and the Beast retellings. Like, generally I tend to like them a lot. That's what prompted me to start the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. I'd actually just seen the live action version of Beauty and the Beast that was starring Emma Watson, and I loved the movie so much. Like, literally I listened to the soundtrack of that movie like on repeat for days, weeks, but I love the movie so much that like I got back into loving the story of Beauty and the Beast, and I looked up books that were inspired by that story, and ACOTAR came up. I ended up reading it, ended up loving it, finished the series, and when this retelling was released, I already had my eye on it, and then when people were praising it so much, I had hope that it was actually good. So for a bit of a synopsis on the way that the story plays out in this book, the protagonist is a girl named Harper who has cerebral palsy, and one day in Washington DC she gets sucked into another world, which is like a fantasy world, which a prince named Prince Wren inhabits, who has been cursed by an enchantress to become this horrible ugly beast, and then the story of Beauty and the Beast plays out, I'm assuming. Of course, because of the fact that the protagonist has this disability, I'm assuming that the story is also very different, so I'm interested to see how that plays out. But moving on to the next book, which is probably the next one I will actually read because it won't take me any time at all because it's short, that is Alone in the Wild by Kelley Armstrong. This is the 5th installment in Kelley Armstrong's thriller mystery series called Rockton. I have done so many different synopses for this series on this channel because I absolutely love it. I absolutely love Kelley Armstrong in general. She is one of my favorite authors and has been for a long time, so I really don't want to do another synopsis. I'm just going to say that if you haven't seen any of the other synopses, that I absolutely love this series and I recommend it to anybody who enjoys mystery and thriller. Go ahead and pick up the first book. It's City of the Lost, and it is phenomenal. I enjoy it so much, and I'm excited to read this installment. The reason why I said I'm going to pick this up first before I pick up A Curse So Dark and Lonely is because this is only like 200 pages, and it's just not going to take me that long, so I'm just going to pick it up, finish it really quick, enjoy it immensely probably, and then carry on to A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which is a little bit longer. Okay, so the next two books I'm going to show you, and they are two, and they're a part of a series, are The Wicked King and The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. These are books 2 and 3 of the Cruel Prince series that she has created. So I read The Cruel Prince a few months ago, probably before that. It has been a while. And I went into it thinking that I was either going to love it or hate it. As I was reading it, I wasn't feeling it at first, and then I got to a certain point and I started to love it. I just absolutely love Carden and Jude's relationship, or like enemy ship sort of. I just started to love it a lot, and then it ended. I was very conflicted. Not exactly like, I wasn't conflicted with Holly Black's writing because I actually it made sense and everything. I was just like conflicted as a human being. I encountered a couple spoilers, not like specific spoilers, just like mood spoilers, if you know what I mean. Like people were talking about the way that the Wicked King had made them feel, and I didn't like the sound of those comments. So I got the Wicked King and never read it, and then this came out. I got the Barnes & Noble gift card and I was like, well, I'm going to get this too. So I have completed the trilogy. I have both of them, and I need to read them, and I think this will be a great chance to finish the trilogy, because even if what I'm thinking might happen in this book does happen, I'm hoping that the series ends on a high note. That's not a spoiler because I have no idea what happens in the series whatsoever. I literally have no idea. And that's terrifying to me because I actually really like the characters a lot. Well, some of them. Some of them I actually despise, which there are a few characters, there are a few literary characters that I dislike, even ones that I very highly dislike, but there are very few that I despise. And this series, what do you know, coincidentally has like a few of those characters that I absolutely despise. So congrats to Holly Black for making characters so believable that I actually want to murder them. Anyway, yeah, these are both very short, especially the last book in the series, which I was a little surprised by. I don't know if you guys were equally surprised that this book is so short. It is 300 pages. Yeah, it's super short, and I just feel like I can finish these two off super quick, and I'll finally be able to finish the trilogy and either cry about it or rejoice about it. You'll know in the future. For a short synopsis on The Cruel Prince, this whole series is a YA fantasy series, and it follows a girl named Jude whose parents are murdered when she is 10 or 7 or something like that, and she and her two sisters are whisked away to the Fae world, and she grows up among the Fae even though she's fully human, and her whole life she's bullied by these Fae nobility. She just wants to be like them. She wants to have the power that they have, and so most of the series is her trying to find ways to acquire that sort of power, or like come into her own despite being a human, and find ways to compete with their power. So that is what the series is about. It's a very interesting concept, and I've said this before, but one of my favorite things about the series is that it is split between the Fae world and the mortal world. In the mortal world, it is like present day, they have malls, cities, you know, it's the human world, it's our world. But in the Fae world, obviously things are quite different, and you know, it's very magical and whimsical and things like that. So I just like to see that contrast a lot in the series. I'm glad that she included that element. So yeah, that's just for a little insight into the series if you haven't already heard about it, which kudos to you if you haven't, because I feel like it's been all over the place. As soon as it came out, people were rushing to the bookstores to buy it, and I wasn't exactly one of those people, but I did want to read it because I was in the Fae mindset, because I was still getting over ACOTAR and things like that. Okay, the last book I have to show you that aren't the books that I'm trying to finish, that I'm going to admit to you that I haven't finished, is Magic for Beginners by Kelley Link. I have wanted to read this collection of short stories for so long. Like, at this point, probably going on 2 years. I think it's finally time that I do that, and I'm not going to say when exactly I'm going to read it. Like, I hope to finish it during the quarantine, but the reason why I'm not going to place it somewhere between the books is because I'm just going to pick it up whenever I feel like I'm gonna be into it, because like I said, this is a collection of short stories, so I feel like I can pick it up, read a short story, put it down for a while, pick it up again, you know, something like that. Just something to read maybe in between the books that I'm planning on reading, or when I need a break. Either way, I'm hoping that I finally finished this book. I have not even started it yet, haven't even looked inside of it. This was recommended to me by my creative writing professor because I am into magical realism fiction, and that is exactly what this collection of short stories is. Just by the way, there is a review by Neil Gaiman on the back that says she is unique and should be declared a national treasure. Kelley Link, I think, has a really, you know, firm place in the literary world. I know that she has done reviews before because I've seen reviews by her, and I know that she has been in the creative process of other authors who have credited her at the end of their novels. I can't remember what novel it was that I remember seeing Kelley Link credited just as like a creative partner, but I read the book and I looked at the acknowledgements and Kelley Link was there, and I was like, oh, so she's kind of like a figure in the, at least like, fantasy fiction literary scene. So anyway, yeah, this is gonna be read. I'm going to read it. You probably don't really care if I finish it or not, but I'm making a promise to you. Please hold me up to it. Keep track of my Goodreads, which if you don't follow me on, go ahead and do that. I would love to be friends with you on there, and we can kind of go back and forth and stuff like that. I love to just like have my feed full of different things, and every time I see that someone else is reading a book that I've already read and loved, I'm like, yay, and I like it, and you know, sometimes we have a little bit of a conversation. But yeah, go ahead and follow me there, and hopefully you're gonna see this. You're gonna see this on Goodreads. You're gonna see that I've started reading it, and yeah. And if you don't, then literally comment on my next video or some future video before quarantine ends and say, Paige, what's going on? I thought you were gonna read this. Sorry, that's a lot of pressure to put on you. I just feel like I need some motivation, and I'm relying on you guys to do that for me. Okay, to wrap up this video, I want to show you the 2 books that I started and have still not finished, and I feel like I need to finish them, which I don't know, like, do I need to finish them? No, but I just feel like that reader's guilt of like not finishing books. So the first of those 2 books is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. I have had this paperback version of this book for a long time. I have been wanting to read Neil Gaiman. The only book I finished from him has been Coraline. I love that book. I love the animated movie a whole lot. I wanted to get more into his adult literature, so I started this book. I actually started it twice. So I started this book, and when I say I started, I mean I read 5 pages of it, like maybe a year or 2 ago. I read those 5 pages, put it down, never picked it back up again until like 2 years later. Picked it up. I kind of switched back and forth between listening to it on audiobook and reading the paperback, but I don't think I liked, I don't know what it is about the book that I just like, I can't get into. I just don't know. I think it's the characters. Like, I just don't feel any attachment to them. I don't feel like they're relatable for some reason. I don't know what it is, and I am roughly halfway through it, so like at this point I feel like if I was going to get into it I probably would, but even so, like, I feel like I need to finish it because it's Neil Gaiman and everybody goes crazy about Neil Gaiman. I understand why, he's very talented, of course, but like I just feel like I need to finish it. Does that make sense? Is that like correct? No, probably. Like, probably a lot of people don't finish books that are by popular authors, but I just feel like I need to. I'm going to put this in here because this is a book that would be nice to finish during quarantine, but I will not be putting this book ahead of the other books that I showed you. I just want to show you it because it would be really nice for me to finish this. If you have read this book and you feel like there's a point that just really captured you, in the plot, or like you feel like there's a point that I will get to that I will start to really get into it, let me know, give me some hope, and maybe you feel the same way but you like his other work and you have a different suggestion. I do have the Graveyard book by him. That's the only other book by him that I own. But if you have specific suggestions as far as Neil Gaiman goes, please like give them to me. I would love to actually experience his writing without cringing through it. I don't know. I'm gonna try real hard. So that's why this book is at the end. And following that, I just want to mention The Outsider by Stephen King. I really praised the TV series adaptation of this book because it's absolutely phenomenal. Like, if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you do. Because I liked the TV show so much, I decided that I wanted to read the novel. I'm actually enjoying the way it's written. I'm not extremely far in, but I'm enjoying the way it's written. The only problem is that, and I feared this might happen, because I've already watched the TV show and the book is actually pretty similar to that, I am not getting invested because I already kind of know what's going to happen. I know generally the direction things are going to take, and so I'm having a hard time reading it, which kind of sucks. And I'm thinking either I'll power through it or maybe I'll put it down. I'll like give myself like some time to like kind of forget about the TV show and feel nostalgia for that and I'll pick it up and I'll actually maybe enjoy it more because I'll forget different elements of the story. If you feel like maybe there's going to be a point that the book and the TV series kind of diverge, then I would like to know, because then I will kind of have something to look forward to, or a twist in the book maybe that isn't in the show, and then I'll get more motivated to read the book to figure out what that is. But if it is the way I suspect, and it is just kind of the same plot, then I'm probably going to put this down for a while. I love the story. I just can't get into it because I kind of know what's happening. Okay, that was it for my rambling today. But I kind of feel better having let you know what I'm trying to read, because I feel like it kind of gives me like a direction. I'm one of those people who has a giant TBR list. Like if you end up following me on Goodreads, then you'll kind of see that my TBR is absolutely huge. And there was a point where I tried to organize it into shelves, but I kind of stopped doing that. So I kind of just pick up whatever I feel like in order to start reading. But I feel like having this organized TBR, at least for this amount of time, gives me sort of an idea, or like sort of a path to follow, so I can get more reading done. Anyway guys, I will be beginning to film my 24-hour readathon tomorrow morning. I'm going to film the tour of my classic bookshelf. I have many other fun videos planned for you guys. I just have to finish filming them and finish editing them all for you, but you can definitely look forward to those videos in the near future. As always, I am hoping that you are staying safe and healthy and sane. Easter is in a couple days, and if you are like me, then you are not going to be seeing your family. For me, at least, is kind of the point of Easter, so it is kind of disheartening, but I hope that you'll find a way to connect with family and friends and talk to them over the weekend, or just anytime during this terrible predicament that we're all in. If anything has helped me out during this time, it has been that connection that I've been trying to keep up. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've read any of these books, please let me know what you thought of them, or if you're planning on reading them like I am. If you did like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you very soon. Bye!